All right, so going live. Got it.
Make sure they have the code for the meeting.
I will. All right, fam. So welcome. Right. So Grand Rising live. Got it. Grand Rising and happy Monday. I'm super blessed, super grateful to be on this call with each and every single one of you guys. I hope everybody is feeling amazing. Just real quick, I see we have, a good amount of people already, 250 plus and growing, and we just went live on YouTube. Let me know, what cities is everybody calling in from? What cities is everybody calling in? We got DC in the building. We got Utah. We got LA. We got Chicago. We got Portugal. We got Philly. We got Kansas City, Vegas. Okay. Man, this is amazing. We got people calling in from all walks of the United States and the world, honestly. So we got Montreal in the building, Delaware, North Carolina. Where else? What else are we calling in from? We got Japan in the building. We got Saipan. We got New Jersey. We got Charlotte. We have Toronto. Man, we have the whole world, and it is watching, man. I'm so excited. Well, guys, welcome to today's Mornings with Nano call. Today is a special call. I'm very excited to be on this call with each and every single one of you. Just recently, I was featured in a documentary, and this individual was kind enough to allow me to be a part of his documentary because of just the connection that we were able to make a few years ago. And he did a call for Mornings with Nano about 2 years ago, I would say, almost reaching 2 years. And things absolutely blew up for him. And, things have been going amazing for him since then. And, he started a brand new, just run for himself. And he has a documentary out. He has a book out, just a phenomenal story. And, I reached out to him recently because we've been in constant communication because of the documentary. And I told him, I'm like, bro, I would love for you to be back on Mornings with Nano. To talk to the fam, it's a brand new group of people. I know there's still some people that were here from the last time. As a matter of fact, real quick, if you were here last time Freddie shared his story, type a 1 in the chat box if you were on the call the last time Freddie shared his story. I want to see how many people we still have from the time that he shared it about 2 years ago. So as you can see, we have some people, but not as many people as you would think, right? We would say, what, about 10, 15, 20 people max. So this is a whole brand new group of people that, don't know who Freddie is. So I'm actually excited for this call. I've been looking forward to this call all weekend. But as you guys know, the Mornings with Nano tradition is, before we start up any call, can we express some gratitude first, right? Because as we know, gratitude is the source where all good things come from. And we want to make sure that we are expressing gratitude. So in the chat box, guys, what is one thing that you are grateful for in the chat? Let us know. I am grateful for God. I am grateful for family. I am grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my mind, my body, and my spirit. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for my team and the leaders within my organization. I'm grateful for my brother, Freddie, taking the time to jump on this call this morning and share his story and allowing me to be a part of his documentary as well. God bless you, bro. I'm grateful for, my mentors, Matt Rosa. I'm grateful for my sister, Janelle's Rosa, Sky. I'm grateful for the coffee I'm drinking this morning. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling blessed. I'm grateful for energy. I'm grateful for momentum. I'm grateful for so many amazing things that are happening in my life right now. And it just feels so good to be on this call with each and every single one of you. So let's continue to spread that word one more time, guys. Let's get this Zoom call to above 300. I know we can. We already have a few on YouTube and growing. So let's keep pushing it because I'm very excited to be on today's call. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Instagram, and we are live on Zoom, fam. So super excited. So just to let you guys know how this call is going to go, it's going to go by very smooth. I'm going to start off by first, opening it up, telling you guys a little bit about my experience and how I met Freddie. Then we're going to jump into Freddie's story. I'm going to edify him and allow him to come on and share his story. And once he's done with his part, we're going to do a little bit of an interview at the end so I can ask him some intentional questions about his journey and how he's been able to create the success that, he's been able to create for himself, and, the books and the documentary and just success principles that, we've learned over the years that have really allowed us to become successful. And since I've already watched the documentary, I can ask him some good questions on a little bit about his story and how he was able to get through it. So just want to see real quick, who's ready? Type a 3 in the chat box if you are ready for the start of this call. We got rid of the small talk. We got it all out. We got our gratitude out. We invited everybody in. We got everybody live in multiple platforms. We have over almost 400 plus people live right now on this call with YouTube, Zoom, and Instagram, guys. Over 400 plus live. So we are super, super excited. So let's get right into this call. So Trials to Triumps is the name of the movement that my brother Freddie has started. And trials, if you look up the definition of trials is, struggles. Trials are, challenges that we deal with in life. And it's important that we understand that, these trials that we go through in life make us better people. They allow us to grow. They allow ourselves to elevate to new levels. And, to be able to sit here and look back at all the trials that I've went through in my life, I can easily tell you guys that if it wasn't for the trials that I've went through in my life, the challenges, the failures, the ups, the downs, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today. And, I know that every single one of us have dealt with trials, and some of us may be dealing with those trials right now as we speak. Okay. But what you want to understand, guys, is what, Freddie is talking about with his movement, right? His movement is Trials to Triumph. Okay. Now, when you look up the definition of triumph, right, what does it mean? The Google definition says a great victory or achievement. Okay. That's what it's saying. A great victory or achievement is what triumph is. So what is he saying? Trials to triumph, which means that your failures, your challenges, the obstacles, all of the things that you're going through right now will eventually lead to a triumph if you stay focused, if you stay locked in with it. And I can relate so much with that. Okay. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys can relate with that as well, right? Type a 2 in the chat box if you ever had a trial that led to a triumph, right? Where you were kind of going through some tough times, you went through some struggles, you were dealing with a certain obstacle in your life, and it was tough at the time. And it was one of those moments in your life where you were challenged. But guess what? That challenge eventually led to what? The great victory. Maybe you hit a certain level in your business. Maybe you hit, a certain level of income. You were able to turn your trials into a triumph. And that is something that we all must understand, that it doesn't matter what we're currently going through right now. Okay. Everything that we're going through right now is happening for a purpose. It's all part of the journey. And we must find happiness in the journey and not in the destination. And that's something that I live by. Okay. I live by the idea that we must find happiness in the journey and not in the destination. Because you see, when we get to the destination, as we all know, we're going to want to know what the next destination is. So it's better to find happiness in that journey. And that journey includes the challenges, it includes the obstacles, and it includes everything, okay, that comes with the journey. So we got to find happiness there. We can't wait till we get to the destination to be happy. Okay. We know so many people out there say, yo, when I make $1 million, I'll be happy. When I drive my car, I'll be happy. When I buy my mom and dad their house, I'll be happy. No, you need to be happy now. You need to be grateful now. You need to embrace the challenges right now. And Freddie is a perfect example of that, guys. He's the perfect example of somebody that enjoyed the process, okay, that embraced what his journey was. And now he's been able to create an incredible amount of success for himself. Everything that we're seeing now is the triumphs, right? We're seeing great victory and achievement from Freddie. He has a great documentary that's blowing up. He has a book that's been Amazon bestseller. He's growing, he's being partnered with NFT projects, you name it, you see it. But guess what? You don't see the trials. And he's gonna talk to you guys about his trials, because look, I want you guys to write this down before I bring them up right now. If you want to impress somebody, okay, tell them about your achievements. But if you want to inspire somebody, tell them about your failures. Okay? Remember that. You want to impress somebody, tell them about your accomplishments. Tell them about all of your achievements. Tell them everything that you've done. But you want to inspire somebody, you want to inspire the world, tell people about your failures. Tell people about the challenges. Tell people about the trials that you went through that allowed you to become the person that you are. And that's exactly who Freddie is. You see, Freddie was somebody I met about 2 years ago. And I was introduced to Freddie by someone who jumped on Mornings with Nano. Funny story. So this individual, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Freddie, if you could remind me what her name was in the chat. But she messaged me on Instagram and she's like, hey, I know somebody that I think you should get on Mornings with Nano. And I'm like, who is it? She said, it's this guy that that I know, that I'm really good friends with. He was a football player for Florida State. And he has this powerful, powerful, powerful story. He wrote a book. He's an ex-NFL player, got hurt, the whole nine. And you guys can relate a lot with your stories. And I said, yeah, for sure. Connect me with him. I love to connect. And, me and Freddie jumped on a phone call and he told me his story. And literally on the phone, as he's telling me his story, I'm like, wow, this story is extremely powerful. And I would love to have, the family on Mornings with Nano listen to it, because I see how powerful it is. And I see how much of a impact it can have on people. So I had Freddie jump on Mornings with Nano and he shared a story. And when I tell you guys, hundreds of people were on the call and hundreds of people shed tears. And, it was just such an impactful story. Hundreds of people went out and bought his book. We helped them, get his sales up there on Amazon. And, ever since then, he got off of Mornings with Nano. It kind of like a whole community of people just started to follow him more. And, more doors started to open up for him. And, literally a year ago, a few months ago, he reached out to me, said, bro, I'm doing a documentary and I would love for you to be a part of it, because you opened the door for me during that time when no one else was opening the door for me. And it's so amazing because, for me, I looked at him as, somebody that was a striving entrepreneur, ex-athlete, similar to my story. And if I was put in his shoes, I would want somebody to open the door for me. And I didn't do it to receive anything. I never did it. I didn't want him to pay me for it. I didn't want him to, do anything. I just said, let me open the door for my brother, Freddie, just like if it was the other way around, I would want somebody to open the door for me. And I didn't expect anything from it. So the fact that he reached back out to me and he remembered, that just shows me that he's a grateful person. That just showed me that he pays, homage to the people that did open, the door for him and did do things for him that, others weren't able to do. And that made me feel so, so grateful. And we actually have him on this call here today. Guys, Freddie is a ex, Division I football player, was able to make it to the NFL. Okay. He was cut, unfortunately. And now, he is a striving entrepreneur, best-selling author, documentary out, one of the hardest working people that I know, resilient, you name it. This is the definition of somebody who is going to go out there and accomplish great things. I think that we're getting him at a very early stage right now, because trust me, this is somebody that we're going to be seeing on YouTube. We're going to be seeing on TED Talks. We're going to be seeing him all over the news based off of the story that he's going to share. So if you guys are excited for this, type some fire emojis in the chat box, because without further ado, I'm going to step out of the way of greatness and I'm going to pass it off to the man, the myth, the legend himself, my brother, Freddie Stevenson. Take it away, bro. The floor is yours, my guy.
And I appreciate you having me, man. I'm so excited to be back on here. Like, just to build on some of the things you said. I remember having that conversation with a mutual friend a few years ago. They love my story, and just for you to be humble enough to allow me on your platform, just to want to help out. That's what I'm all about. I truly believe in winning with genuine people. I know a lot of people will try to attach themselves to people that are thriving to try to kind of ride their wave, but I truly feel like when you're gifted enough, you're anointed, you're called to do something special, you don't have to try to leech out for what other people are doing. So I truly feel like connecting with you was a blessing because I was praying before to get connected with people that had the heart for people. And just for you to do that, it was a blessing. And I told myself, man, if I have the opportunity, I'm gonna return that favor. He probably didn't believe me at the time, but we were already in talks at the time with Netflix. The book had just became a bestseller and it was starting to make waves across the world. I'm finding my book in Spain, Japan, like all over. It's crazy. And Netflix is talking with me. Things never materialized. Then a few months later, some guys from Warner Brothers reached out and they were like, we're trying to branch out and start our own thing. We want to create our own entire platform and we would love to tell your story on it. And I thought of Nano immediately. They asked me who I wanted to put in the film. Nano was one of the guys. I said, I don't know how we're gonna do it. I know he's kind of busy right now, but I gotta have him in the film. We brought a guy, Maurice Bernard from General Hospital. He's in the film. Tony Gaskins, he's a celebrity life coach. He's been on the Oprah Winfrey Network, best-selling author, huge entrepreneur, has like 12 different businesses that run up 7 figures a year like crazy. So then we brought a guy, Delvin Bro. You saw him a little bit in the film earlier. He's a guy that has a crazy story, made it in the NFL. I'm introducing some other people to the world, Tyrell Lyons, Ryan Green, my fiance, Deja Torres, my parents, so many people that have powerful stories. And I truly believe it's one of the most powerful films of the year. And I'm a realist. I'm very hard on myself, the way that I work. So I wasn't going to release the film until I was comfortable saying that. And I truly believe it's a film that once you watch it, your life will never be the same. It's the most powerful hour and 30 minutes of the year. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to showcase this with you, talk about it with you. And like Nano said, the trials along the way, the story that kind of went viral and it's still going viral. I was just on NBC the other day talking about my story, cheeseburger story. When we were young, my father, he was in prison and my mother was raising 5 kids on her own. One day she takes us to McDonald's. She only has $1 to her name. She orders a cheeseburger. The burger comes out to $1.05. And for some reason, the cashier wouldn't let her get the cheeseburger. So she has to go around the bed for a nickel. She gets the nickel from somebody, takes us outside, slices it up into 5 pieces, starts handing it out, and we start eating immediately. And while we're eating, my older sister notices that my mom isn't eating. Then we all start looking around, offer her some food. She turns it down immediately and bursts into tears. And that moment kind of it stuck with me my whole entire life. That's what motivated me in sports, everything. I've never been the most gifted athlete. I've never been the most gifted in anything I do, but that will from that struggle is ultimately what propelled me to levels that I wouldn't have been able to get to otherwise. So when we talk about trials of triumph, and Nano talks about being happy throughout the struggle, that's what it is. Because now when I look back at the things that I questioned, those struggles were ultimately building me up for moments like this. So for you, I just want to say, embrace that journey, embrace those challenges. Now I built so much confidence that even though we're in our triumph right now, the trials are going to continue to come. They're going to continue to present themselves. So I laugh in the face of them. I've overcome it so many times. I know we're going to continue to conquer those challenges, and you're the same. So don't allow those moments of weakness, those challenges that seem like you're not going to be able to overcome them. We've all been able to overcome them. We're all on this meeting. So I need you to understand, look back and understand the things that you've overcome just to get to this point. And you can continue to do that. Like I had to remind myself when I was going through my journey transitioning from the NFL and things were dark for me. I was depressed, suicidal. I had to remind myself the things that I overcame just to get to that point. And like, man, listen, you used to be homeless. What are you letting this get you down for? You have a place to live, you have a place to stay, you have food on the table, money in your account. Why are you letting this get you down? And sometimes you just have to remind yourself of some of the things you overcome. And I say that for each and every one of us. Like I have a term called struggle made. That's my social media name, Struggle Made 105, and the 105 comes from the cheeseburger. But ultimately, that struggle, it makes us into who we are. So embrace it. Embrace every bit of it. Nano was saying something earlier about everybody wants $1 million, but you, if you don't go through that struggle along the way, that journey, you're going to lose it just as fast as you got it. So that struggle, that process is ultimately what's going to build you to the point where you're able to sustain that success for a long period of time. So don't embrace it. When you skip steps along the way, you miss lessons. So don't try to rush your process, and embrace it, the good and the bad. And I think you'll end up right where you need to be. Not sure what Nano is. Nano, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, we can. I just wanted to kind of tell them about, the film journey and things like that, and then we can go ahead and get into the whatever questions you would like to ask. I don't want to give away too much.
No, of course not. Let me put it upside right here. But yeah, fam, let me open up the chat right here. We had a little of spammer in there. Put a 1 in the chat box, guys. You guys getting value so far from my brother Freddie. Yes. Awesome. But yeah, bro, I'm excited, man. And it's amazing how, things start off, man. And, I want to talk to you. The first question I got for you, bro, is I want you to talk to the family about the importance of time and giving things time, bro, because when I look back and I was looking at your documentary, bro, it took time for you to get through everything. And even after you got to Florida State and you were able to, sign as a professional, NFL player, it felt like, after you got released, it was kind of like a whole setback. So it was almost like you were there, you had the triumphs, and then it was like a setback came and it was almost like starting all over. Can you talk to people about the importance of giving, your goals and your dreams time to develop?
Without a doubt. And I kind of started off with this even before we got to Florida State. I remember being in high school my junior year, and I had a crazy injury that required 2 surgeries, and doctors told me that I'd never play again. And at the time, I have no offers from any colleges, and I'm discouraged. I don't really know what to expect. Making it to the NFL is my dream. But when we talk about that time, giving things time, the only thing that I could do and control at that point was making sure that I went to rehab and took those steps forward each and every day to get my leg better. So I couldn't focus on the offers. It would have got me discouraged. It would have drove me crazy. Just had to go through the process. And at Florida State, we were able to get the offer, I think like 3 months after my injury. I'm in the bed at this time. I wasn't able to get out the bed for like 4 months after my surgery. So I'll get the offer from Florida State while I'm in the bed. Go there. I end up signing there. We go to Florida State. Out of high school, I'm one of the top linebackers in the country. So I go to Florida State, and my leg, the same leg I injured my junior year, it starts acting up on me once I put on some weight. In high school, I'm like 210 pounds. In college, they moved me up. I got to like 230 in the off season, and my body wasn't able to handle that weight. So started moving stiff, couldn't really do a lot of things. I'm in the treatment room every day getting looked at by the doctors. And ultimately, it's because what the doctor said was somewhat true. I wasn't supposed to play again. But when you talk about that will from what drove me early on, that cheeseburger and things like that, I wasn't going to allow things to turn out any differently. So the team met with me. They're like, man, we like you a lot, but right now your leg's bothering you. You did play offense in high school, so we would like to take a look at you over there. And things ended up working out for the best. I played on the offensive side of the ball, became the number 1 player at my position at fullback coming out, signed with the Chicago Bears. But it seems fast, but it took a lot of time. I was frustrated. My leg was bothering me. But ultimately, it came down to just trusting that process. Like I said earlier, we forget some of the things that we overcame. Like just a few years before, I was told that I'd never be able to play again. So I had to constantly remind myself, like, even if you never play it down here, you already beat the odds. So that's ultimately was my thought process, enjoying that process, enjoying that struggle, that journey, and then just going through the process and commit myself 100% to it. I started to have success. Just I was focused on making the best out of that situation. I came from a crazy environment growing up. A lot of people don't get to go to college. So it's like, I'm at college. I was told I'd never play again. Two things, like nobody's ever done this. Nobody in my family's went to a Division I university before. So I'm blessed already. And I just went through the process, did what I only thing I know how to do, and be a good teammate. And it ended up working out for me. Had an opportunity to go to the Reese's Senior Bowl, which is like the premier all-star game for football players as seniors. Went to the NFL Combine and then signed with the Bears coming out. And when you talk about we talk about time, man, just from a kid has a dream at a young age to make it to that level. It's crazy to think about it now, but all the time that went into working that craft and continuing to get better. I remember after signing with Florida State in high school, we had my signing party, and I'm an early enrollee, so I signed in December and I enrolled in college in January. I graduated high school in 3 years. So after my party, I just had the cake, the meatballs and everything. And I remember telling my dad, he's like, "Where do you want to go eat after this?" I'm like, "Man, before we go eat or anything, I got to go put some work in the backyard." And he thought I was crazy, but then he understood, like, "Man, we're not done yet. We're not done. Like, yeah, we signed here, but ultimately the goal is to make it to the NFL. So I'm not just going to chill on the fact that I've been able to sign. And whatever your goals are, you got to commit 100% to them. Enjoy the small wins, but always strive to achieve more."
I love that. I love that, bro. And, I can see that, you've always had that mentality, bro. Like, yo, the job's not finished. The Kobe Bryant mentality, yo, job's not finished. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep it pushing. And you never gave up. And something that I really got from everything that you said is that, no matter how much time it takes, you're gonna keep going. You're gonna make sure that it gets done. And that's something that's powerful. Real quick, fam, if you come from a low income family, you come from the hood, put a one in the chat box. I want to see who in here comes from low income family. You come from the hood, you come from humble beginnings. Freddie, I want you, as you can see, we have a lot of people who come from humble beginnings, hoods, and I want you to talk a little bit about that, bro. Coming from the bottom, man. Something that I always teach is, the hardest thing about getting to the top is getting through the crowd at the bottom. How hard, and how difficult is it, for you to come from the bottom, but talk about the mindset that is required to make it through those, challenges at the bottom, lack of money, lack of resources, lack of help, people not believing in you. Talk about that, because a lot of people that I've known have stayed stuck at the bottom because they haven't been able to develop the mindset to get through those, challenging times at the bottom. So tell us a little bit about the mindset that we got to have to make it through those times, because you come from the hood, you come from humble beginnings, you come from a low income family. How was it that you were able to develop that mindset to get yourself to where you are today?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a struggle because, like you said, it's easy to just adapt that mindset that most of the people in those neighborhoods have, because the reality is you're not going to get any help. Nobody's really trying to reach out to you and make life better for you. But on the flip side of that, you have to realize that one thing I always preach is nobody's coming to save you. You got to go get it done yourself. And that's one thing we learned early on, even though we were struggling in those situations. That's what we learned. Like, throughout the process, we're moving around from place to place, trying to stay with people because we didn't have anywhere to stay, getting kicked out of their houses, whatever. Just because we got, brothers and sisters, somebody may break something or run up somebody's bill. And at the end of the day, people are going to look out for themselves. Nobody's coming to save you. So you got to go do what's best for you and your family. And that's what we ultimately learn. And it's tough, like I said, because you got a lot of people that'll just be cool with, not necessarily cool, I wouldn't say cool, but they don't think it's ever going to get better for them. They've had family around them that's been there their whole entire life. So they think that's it. But the flip side of that, I looked at it, I'm like, man, we've been homeless. This is considered the bottom. So when you're at the bottom, the only way up from there, it's only up from there. So that's the perspective that I've taken with anything in my life. I always find the good in any situation. I'm optimistic, even in a bad situation. So even though we weren't given, the best circumstances coming up, I knew, like, man, ultimately living through going through that process, like, man, we have to be going through this for a reason. And I just think perspective is everything in life. We could have looked at it like, man, we're homeless, nothing's going to happen for us. And I think a lot of people, their dreams die right there. And I truly believe if you woke up today, you have purpose on your life. If you're still living, you have purpose on your life. So even when we were going through those situations, as I got older, it's like, man, we're still here for a reason. Like, that tried to break us, but we're still here. So no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, rich or poor, if you woke up today, you got a purpose. And that's ultimately what's driven me, just trying to figure out what that purpose on my life was.
Wow, bro, that was powerful. Let me just I was actually writing it down. Give me one sec right here. Yeah, I was writing it down. Sorry, I had to cough real quick. But, I love what you said about no one is coming to help you, and I feel like now that I sit back and I think about it, I kind of had a similar mindset when I was in my neighborhood. And I realized that, no one was really coming to help me. It had to be something that I wanted to do, like, because everybody around me was kind of like stuck and everybody was just kind of going through the motions and doing what they were used to do. They were products of their environment. So I'm like, yo, my friend to the left, my friend to the right isn't going to help me. My parents have helped me as much as they could. Like, I have to go out there and make it happen. And I love that you said that, because I feel like a lot of us do have to develop that mindset that, yo, you got to be the one that gets up and takes the initiative to go get it. No one is going to come give you that handout. No one is going to come give you that $1 million check that you want. And no one is going to come buy that house for your mom. You got to go do that yourself. You got to get up and go get it yourself. And you got to work hard for it. And I love that. And then the last thing that you said that really stuck with me was, if you woke up today, you have purpose, right? Can I get an amen in the chat box for that, right? If you woke up today, you have purpose, right? And I know that a lot of people are always trying to find their purpose, and they say they don't have it, but in reality, like Freddie just said, if you woke up today, you do have purpose, and you do have a future ahead of you, and you do have incredible things that can happen for you today, because you just never know what gift and what breakthrough can happen for you today. So thank you for sharing that, man. I have a question here.
I'm gonna build on that before I answer this next question. Just look at some of our favorite entertainers, celebrities, whatever the case may be, somebody that you admire in the entertainment industry. Some of them have some of the craziest stories ever, and we look at them now like they've just been able to be successful their whole entire life. But at some point, they had, at some point you have to be somebody in your family has to break that generational curse. And it may look like they've just had life easy, but a lot of these people have come up just like us. Somebody has to break that generational curse. Why not you?
Mm-hmm.
They may look like they're better than us, whatever the situation may be, whatever you decided yourself to think. But I just believe they have an extraordinary work ethic. They didn't allow their situation to cripple them forever, to be a life sentence. Like, don't allow your current circumstances, that doesn't dictate your final destination. So whatever you're going through, you can come out of it. I truly believe that. Like, looking at people like Tyler Perry, who was homeless, The Rock, who has a $7 foundation, was living out his car with $7 to his name. These are some of the biggest stars in our country. So if they can do it, you can too.
Absolutely, bro. And I'm glad that you said that, man, because it's so important that, we realize that success leaves clues, and, people who have gone through tough times and have been able to accomplish some amazing things. I want to talk a little bit about, to stay on the topic of purpose a little bit, and just your why, right? In order for somebody to make it through the times that you've made it through, you have to have a strong why, a strong reason why you kept going. Can you talk to us a little bit about what was the reason that, regardless of the trials and the challenges and the times that you were put down and the times that you were, told that you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that, what was it that kept you going in the face of all those challenges? Because there's always something that keeps us going. And for some, it may be money, for some, it may be family, for some, it may be kids. What was it for you that kept you going? And how can people use those whys to keep them moving forward?
Yeah, for me, it definitely was family. Just going back to the cheeseburger story, I just knew if I gave up, not only was I letting down a mother that sacrificed so much for us, but people that were going through that same exact struggle and needed some inspiration to come out of that dark place. Like now you have so many people reaching out to me saying that they've dealt with those situations or they're dealing with them now, but just to see that I've been able to come out of them, that's inspiration enough to continue going. So now just it started off as being my mother and my family, but it's turning into something way bigger, and just being able to impact people that go through those different obstacles throughout the course of their life. That's everything to me. I would say that's my purpose has shifted, and it's a lot bigger now.
Yeah, because it almost feels like, because for me, it was the same. For me, it started as family. I want to do it for my mom, for my dad, my little brother. And then as you start to go down the journey, it almost feels like it's not like it changes, but you start to add on more, because it seems like it started with family. You wanted it, you wanted to do it for your family, but now it seems like, you're realizing that you can make a worldwide impact in communities all over the world with your story. Talk a little bit about that, bro. What inspired you to want to share your story? Because, coming out of school, graduating, going into the league, and then, being released, what was it that inspired you? What was the idea that just came like, yo, I'm gonna just share my story? And, what was it like? What was it that inspired you to do that, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Just a lot of people in the pros, a lot of their dreams get cut short. Just to be real, some people just aren't cut to play at the pro level. But that wasn't my situation. My circumstances were a lot different. Coming out at that level, I was dominant. I truly believe, still to this day, you can't find many players at that position that possess the skill set that I had. So just for things to go wrong for me when I was playing at a high level and it didn't work out, I remember getting cut from the Bears and I couldn't get on the team. They're working me out. They're like, man, you had an amazing workout, but we're going to hold off. And I don't know, just along the way, I was like, man, things continue to keep going wrong for some reason. And it's not because of ability, because I'm smashing things on the field. And I just remember going to a developmental league, just trying to get more film for the NFL. Because by this time, I think I'm like 2 years out, and that league folded. So I'm telling myself at this point, it's like, I just think this is a clear sign. All of my former teammates that I played with in college are in the NFL, and they're telling me that they know I'm better than the guys on their team. And then I got guys in the league that are still reaching out, like, we know you can still play. And I knew that I was a Pro Bowl caliber player, but I knew for some reason those doors kept getting blocked. And it was time for me to figure out why. And just the struggles that I went through along the journey, I wanted to tell those. It initially started out to help athletes, and it became something way bigger. And that's ultimately what led me to write the book. I just looked at myself, was real in the mirror, like, man, I don't really think football is meant for you. Like, you can play, but if it was meant for you, it would happen. You're handling business on the field, so I had to be real with myself and just take that next step and try to figure out what was meant for me.
That's beautiful, bro. And to continue on that topic right there about your book, I know we have a lot of people here who have powerful stories, man. One of them being myself. Can you talk about the process of, getting a book published and how to start it? What I know the idea came around, I want to write a book, but then what was it? What was the process like? Was it something that you did daily? Did you just start writing about your story and then fix it as you went? Talk about the process of how you got into the book and published it, the whole nine, got it on Amazon, everything.
Yeah, no doubt. So when I decided I was going to do the book, I just started writing immediately. And writing has always been something that done. A lot of people don't know this, but in elementary, I would get entered into like national writing competition. So to talk about purpose and things like that, it's crazy to look back at it now. It's like I truly believe that our purpose is shown to us along the way, but sometimes we're focused on so many other things that we miss it. And just to see some of the things that are presenting themselves now, like speaking, my coaches would always get mad at me for not speaking in college, high school, all of these things, and now I'm speaking. So just to think that I wrote a book is crazy, but to answer your question, I just started writing a book, didn't really know how to handle the business aspect of it. I just knew my story needed to be told. So I started writing it. Happened for about, like, say 4 to 5 months. I went through it for like 4 to 5 months. And after the first 3 months, I hit a wall, not because I didn't know what to write. I just got burnt out. The book is like 112 pages, but we literally could have had 500 to 600 pages out of everything that I wrote. So I got burnt out and had to take a break for a little bit. But then my fiance was like, you got to finish this book now, because there are so many people that wanted to write books but never did because they stopped. And they always told themselves that they would finish, and they never finished. And that's when I got it done. A few people reached out to me. They found out that I was writing a book, and they sent me to a few editors. They edited my book and put it up on Amazon for me, self-published it for me. And that's ultimately how we got it done. I know a lot of people try to go through publishing companies and things like that, but the biggest thing for me was ownership. I know you can't really talk ownership when Amazon gets a big cut, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about a publishing company owning the rights to your story.
Let's go. And that's powerful because we have a lot of future, motivational speakers and 7-figure entrepreneurs on this call. So I know that there's going to be a lot of books. As a matter of fact, if you plan on writing a book in the future, guys, put a 3 in the chat box if that's something that you plan on doing in the future, whether it's in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? So we have a lot of good people. And look, as you guys can see, Freddie just said, hey, just start writing. Start writing, and then, the rest will figure itself out. You'll connect with somebody. We'll find a way to get it published and set up. And I think that that's powerful. And I'm actually starting to write mine as well. So I'm glad that, I'm headed in the right direction, Freddie. Thank you for that. You said something powerful there about, your significant other, your wife, pushing you to, finish writing that book. And, in the documentary, your mom was a very strong part of your dad's journey. So, I can see that, wives and significant others are important in the journey. Can you talk a little bit about, how important it is to have a wife or a significant other that pushes you, that is aligned with your vision, that is willing to hold you accountable and be there with you every step of the way? Can you talk about the importance of that a little bit, bro?
Man, it's everything. Just on the days that you're down and you don't really feel like continuing, they're the ones that pick you up, and vice versa. I truly believe that when you're with the right partner, everything begins to flourish at the perfect times. When you're truly meant for each other, they only make you better. Like iron sharpens iron. When you're with somebody that's wired like you, is ambitious, disciplined, all of those things, they're gonna sharpen you in the areas where you're weak, and you'll be able to do the same. Like, we're similar in a lot of ways, but we're completely different. So areas where I'm weak, she can help me out, and vice versa, I can help her out. And that's the beauty of having our own different journeys and experience throughout life. There's things that she's experienced that I know nothing about, and vice versa. So we're able to come together and be whole. And that's why I say it's a beautiful thing. Like, when you find the perfect person, because it only makes you better.
Yeah, and I agree, man. And I could see that, your wife has been a big part of the journey. And like you said, they kind of like, like you said, the things that you're not good at, they're good at, and then the things that you're good at, you're able to help each other out. And it's kind of like a perfect combination of just talents and love and appreciation. And that's what it's all about, guys. And this is something that we talk about here, the law of association, and that's what I'm going to get into next. Talk about the importance of having the right people in your circle. I know that, there's a saying that, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I know that you grew up with a lot of your friends, and you had people around you that weren't in the right, environments and weren't doing the right things. How were you able to stay focused but still keep that friendship with those people? Because we don't cut off our friends at the end of the day. Those are our family and we accept them for what they are. But how are you able to, choose this entrepreneurship journey when all your friends are choosing to do everything else, but still keep that friendship with them? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I say just, truly because I've always had, the heart for people. So, and I truly believe sometimes people can see in us things that we can't see in ourselves. So while other people have become products of our environment, you may be able to see something that's in them that's special and they can't even see it yet. So being around to be that source of inspiration for them has been beautiful. But I will say this, man, along the journey, you're going to lose a couple friends, man. Like some of the people that I grew up with, I still have a tight relationship with, but just that journey of time, you'll realize like, man, some of those relationships that you built early on were built on a bad foundation. Like when I was, in high school, doing some things that, we do when we're young, stupid things, that's when you click with people. And then as you get older, you want to branch out and create a name, leave a legacy, start a family, whatever the case may be. Some of your old friends still want to do those things. And once you don't no longer want to do them, they start talking about you, become envious of you, some of those things. So you outgrow some of those friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. They were just only meant to be a part of a few chapters of your life. And some, they may make it to the end of the book, and you just figure that out with time. And I always have the heart for people. So even if we grow apart, whatever the case may be, if they hit my line and they need something and it's put on my heart to help them, I'm gonna do that. Like I'm not a bitter person. They were meaningful to this journey. I wouldn't get here without those relationships that were built in the past, even though they didn't last. It was meaningful. That's why I came across them at some point. So I appreciate all the friends that I've been able to come across and the new friends that I'm able to make.
That's beautiful, bro. And I'm grateful that, you were able to, keep pushing in the face of, friends and family choosing to do other things. In the documentary, bro, I realized that, you and your family are very God-centered. And I respect that a lot because this community right here, the Mornings with Nano community, is very God-centered as well. And we're grateful because we've been able to build a foundation with it. Can you talk a little bit about that? And it's not to, go against anybody's beliefs or anything, but talk about the importance of building that relationship with your creator and what that has done for you and your family over the years.
Yeah, for me it was big. Just just trying to figure out my purpose in life. Ultimately, I was created for something the day that I was born, and we all were. So building that relationship, it ultimately helped me figure out those things. When I say along the journey, there were things that were shown to me and I missed them. It's ultimately because I didn't build that relationship, so I didn't have any clue what I was being shown. So that's why it's important to build that relationship. And for anybody that watches the film, you just sit down and watch this film. Just sit back and y'all don't know, like Nano knows how the interviews went down. Just look. If you had a chance to see those interviews, it's crazy how many miracle stories we have that are in this film. Nobody in this film is meant to be here today. So my faith is the way it is for a reason. Just every single person, even though I wanted Nano to be in this film, I truly felt like, not only because he helped me out, I truly felt like his story was special and it impact people across the world. So every single person in this cast, I feel like there's somebody that can watch this film and they'll be able to relate to him and be impacted by it. So it was a long-winded answer, but that's why my faith is the way it is. Just not only my story, but seeing how many miracle stories there are out there and how many powerful people that have been impacted by the same presence that I have.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. And I'm glad that you said that because I remember in the documentary, when your dad got out, that was God, and it was beautiful to see that because those are things that, those are like miracles. Those are like once in a lifetime opportunities that happen for your dad. And then, to see everything that's happened for you. And everything that has happened for me, I take no credit for it. I give all the credit and glory back to God, because man, it has been amazing. And I'm just grateful. And I love what you said right there. You said, things will be shown to you. And if you don't have that relationship, you could miss that. And I feel like, very early on in my career, I missed a lot of opportunities and breakthroughs and just, things that could have happened great for me, because I didn't have that relationship. But now that I do, I'm able to catch all of these things, and I'm able to be aware, and I feel them now. And it feels like literally a phenomenal thing. I can't even explain it, because, you got to have that relationship to understand, but I know you do. So, I'm glad that, you're powerful, and you embrace that. And I think that that's amazing. Talk a little bit, so we could wrap it up here, bro. 2 more questions. Talk a little bit about what the goals are moving forward, brother. I know that we dream big. So I know that you for sure have, what's next for Freddie, what's next for the trials, the triumphs movement. And, how can we help in any way, my brother?
Yeah, number one is it's kind of just touch on something that you said a little bit earlier, just enjoying the process, the good and bad that comes with this. It's a blessing just to be here to tell this story, and I'm excited for everything that's to come. And I know it's going to be impactful and make its way across the world. And number two, we're turning this project, the Trials of Triumph project, into a docuseries. So we plan on telling different Trials of Triumph stories across the world, creating like 30-minute episodes telling people's story. And it's going to be something special just to think about some of the people that we've been able to connect with in the industry, and just some great stories across the world. I don't really get into the whole leaning on entertainers thing, but I do know that, that's what draws the audience in initially, to get people, tuning in for the documentary. But I want to tell powerful stories all across the world, whether that's an entertainer or your everyday person. I truly believe there are stories out there that need to be told, and we're going to tell them.
I love that. And I'm excited to, continue to be a part of this movement, bro. You got my 100% support and love. Last question, brother. You talk about sharing the story, and I know that for some, that could be something that's uncomfortable for people. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the importance of stepping out of that comfort zone and not being scared to share your story? Because I feel like a lot of us have very, very powerful stories, but at some point, sometimes we feel like people are not going to care to hear our stories. Maybe our stories are not as impactful as other people's stories. And for some reason, sometimes we tend to keep these stories within and we never share them. Can you talk about getting uncomfortable and sharing that story, regardless of whether anybody hears you or not? I think that's important that we finish it off with the importance of getting uncomfortable and sharing that story. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's important to do it for 2 reasons. One, the moment that you tell your story, you get rid of that burden that's been holding you back your entire life. All of that pain, all of that trauma, the doubt. The moment that you go out there and tell that story, you've been relieved. And number 2, you impact lives. People that are going through the same exact thing that you were going through. You may not impact the world. The one thing that I tell myself each and every day is that if I impact one life, I'm good. It started out, the book Trials of Triumph started out as me just wanting to impact one athlete that was struggling with the journey. And it continued to turn into something bigger. Like every single day I'm focused on impacting one person. I don't know how it's going to present itself, but I'm gonna impact at least one life a day. And it turned into something bigger. So if you can impact at least one life with your story, then you fulfill a sense of purpose, just because you went through that journey for a reason, and you came out of it for a reason, and you're going to be the reason that somebody else comes out of their dark place.
That's so powerful, bro. Thank you for sharing that. And that's so true, fam. That's what it's all about. Just go out there and share. And as a matter of fact, I challenge you guys at some point today or at some point this week, go live on Instagram and share your story. Share your trials to triumph story. Share, what it is that you've gone through in the past, what you've gone through this year, and how you've been able to turn that into a triumph. Because I think it's important that everybody understands that. I feel like a lot of people sometimes tend to think that, oh, no one's gonna listen or no one's gonna care. But no, you'll be surprised. Like Freddie said, impact one person, inspire one person a day. It don't have to be hundreds. It don't have to be the 400 or 500 people that are on this call. It could just be simply, one person that you impact. Because I remember what my mentor told me once. He said, Nano, if one person shows up on the call, then you do the call, because you don't know if that one person that's on the call is the next Mother Teresa. You don't know if that one person on the call is the next Martin Luther King. So you share that message, you share your story, regardless of who it is, because that one person could be the one that goes out there and inspires thousands and millions of people all around the world, guys. So if you're inspired to share your story just a little bit more after this call, put a 1 in the chat box. And it's 11:11. If you guys are excited, because I am super, super excited, to even do it myself. I feel like I can go out there and sometimes I make the assumption like, oh, everybody knows my story. But, there's a bunch of people on Instagram that follow me that never heard my story. A bunch of people on Twitter, in my company, in my business, friends of mine that probably don't even know my full story. So I challenge all of you guys to go out there and share your story. Freddie, any last words, any last things that you want to let us know before we wrap it up here? And then we let everybody know where we can get, the documentary and everything, so we can watch it all together.
Yeah, no doubt. Just to touch on what you just said about sharing the story, I remember going through the process, doing all these different interviews, being on ABC, all these different platforms, telling my story. And my publicist at the time, he was worried that I wouldn't want to go on like the smaller platforms. I'm like, man, listen, I don't care if they have 3 listeners, whatever. That may be 3 people that never heard my story before and need to get through it. And it's crazy because one of the smaller platforms that I went on, they ended up being the people that connected me with the guys from Warner Brothers. So always tell your story. Never, never turn down the opportunity to share your story. And you never know the impact that it can make. You never know the reach that people have. And I've learned throughout the industry that some of the most powerful people, especially on social media, you would look at them and be like, oh, this guy only has 10 followers, 100 followers. But then behind the scenes, you find out how powerful some of these people are. It's crazy. Like a few months ago, I was connected with a billionaire. You go on social media, he follows like 4,000 people, has 50 followers, but he's worth $6 billion. And people wouldn't look at him on social media, think anything of it. You just never know. So always share your story, no matter who it's with. You never know the impact that it can make. And to wrap things up, just make sure to go show us some love. Check out the documentary. I truly believe it'll change your life. We'll drop the link in the chat, and go follow my guy Nano. I'm sure y'all already are, but make sure to go show him some love, man. Show him some love, and follow me on social media at StruggleMade105, and continue to tap in, man. And I have an open door policy. I don't care. Like, I don't really get into the whole status thing. If you reach out and you showing love, like, I truly believe I'm not here today without the people that have supported. So I'll always, if I see the message, I'm responding. I don't care if it takes me all day. I don't get to everybody, but if I have time and I see it, I'm responding. So if you have any questions, feel free to bounce them off my head, and we're gonna chop it up.
Let's go, man. Well, thank you so much, Freddie. That was a blessing. Guys, let's type some thank yous in the chat box for my brother Freddie, taking the time out of his day to share his story, answer some questions for us, give us some perspective. I even learned a lot, man. I was able to get a lot from, the conversation that we just had, the interview that we just had. I'm going to pause the chat real quick so that if you guys want to take a look at the documentary, here's the link for it. I'm gonna drop it in the chat box for us right now. It's an amazing documentary, guys. I learned so much from the documentary. I was so inspired after the documentary. I know that you guys will be able to get a lot of value from this documentary. So if you guys want to take a look at it, learn more about the story and everything that, we have here, I think that you guys will really, really be grateful for the lessons, the perspective, the stories, not just from just Freddie or myself, just from all the other great, friends and family that shared, their stories in the documentary. Remember, this is a Trials to Triumph documentary. So it's not just Freddie's trials, it's a lot of other different people. And, you're going to be able to relate, maybe to someone else in the documentary, maybe you may not relate with me and Freddie because we're athletes, but maybe you may relate with one of his friends, one of the family, or one of the individuals that shared their story on there. So I think that that's super, super valuable. I think that you're going to be able to get a lot from that. And then also, if you want to be able to get the book is on Amazon, To Triumps as well. There's the link. Great, great book. I'm grateful for it and everything that it teaches, guys. I'm 100% in support of this movement. I love what it's all about. Freddie's a phenomenal person, great individual, comes from a great family, God-driven, and there's nobody else I would rather, do this with than my boy Freddie, man. So again, guys, show love to the fam. Those are the links right there. If you guys want to purchase it, 100% run that up. But with that being said, guys, that wraps up today's call. Freddie, we usually do a little prayer at the end of the call. We would love for you to lead it tonight, man. I mean, today, if you can do it for us, a little quick prayer for us, and we can wrap it up with that, man. I think it'll be dope.
Okay, cool. Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity just to experience life and the blessings that you bestowed upon us. Thank you for this call today. So many lives will be impacted, not only from today, but going forward. I truly pray that every single person on this call was inspired to share their story and understand that you have created a purpose for each and every one of us, and let your will be done. Thank you for all that you're doing, all that you're going to do, the good and the bad. We embrace the journey. We trust you, and we thank you for all you're doing and will continue to do. Thank you. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Let's go. Amen. All right, fam. So with that being said, guys, that wraps up today's call. Freddie, again, my brother, thank you so much, bro. Guys, make sure you guys grab the documentary, grab the book, follow my boy Freddie at Struggle Made 105 on IG. Be careful of any fake pages. But with that being said, that wraps it up. Any last words, Freddie, before we go?
Yeah, just go make sure you follow Mornings with Nano as well. I got to grab me a hoodie soon too. You have the link on your page?
It's coming soon for the hoodies, but
Okay.
follow the IG page though for sure.
Okay.
The new Mornings with Nano page.
All right, bet.
All right, fam. God bless. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. Enjoy, fam. Thank you again.